Hello everyone, and welcome to lesson 5.5, which is on inequality solutions. Now, this section is on how to solve inequalities like we solved equations in chapter 4. So if you need help, please go back to chapter 4 and look at how we talked about solving one-step and two-step equations. We're going to follow the exact same process here. If you would like more detail in how we do that and using opposites and opposite operations, please go back to those sections as they provide the base knowledge to help us solve these problems today. What I will say about inequalities, when we're solving multiple step inequalities, one step, two step, multi-step, whatever it is, we have a special rule with inequalities. And that special rule is written in pink, and it says if you multiply or divide, and I'm going to highlight that, multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip the sign around. Like, as soon as we multiply or divide by a negative, the sign has to flip. And if we can remember that, we can solve the equation. Now, there are some specifics that we need to get into with that that do confuse some people. So let's just go ahead and take a look at a couple examples on when to flip versus when not to flip signs. All right, so our first example is negative 3x is greater than 30. So we know that negative 3x is multiplication. So to solve, we do the opposite operation, which is division. And on the left-hand side, the negative 3's cancel out, leaving us with x. X is greater than 30 divided by negative 3. Actually, I'm going to erase that. 30 divided by negative 3 is negative 10. And now we notice, I'm going to highlight this in green, that I've actually divided this problem by a negative number. Since I have divided this problem by a negative number, my sign has to flip in the other direction. So instead of saying x is greater than negative 10, I say x is less than negative 10. Okay, moving on. We have x divided by 5 is less than or equal to negative 4. So in this problem, to solve, we have division, so we do the opposite operation, so we multiply both sides by 5. On the left-hand side, the 5's cancel. That leaves me with x, and on the right-hand side, I have negative 20. In this case, notice that the number that I'm actually doing the math by is positive. Even though there's a negative involved in the problem, I'm not actually multiplying by the negative. I'm not actually dividing by the negative. So since I'm not actually using that number to help me solve the problem, it's just there, we actually do not flip the sign and we keep it the exact same as it was before. So please pay attention, right? This is our difference. In the first example, I actually used a negative to divide out and solve the problem. In the second one, when I multiplied to solve the problem, I multiplied by a positive number. Even though a negative is involved, the number that I was using to solve the problem was not a negative, and that determines whether I flip the sign or not. Okay, so let's move on. We have 4 examples here of problems that we'll see in this section and how we solve them. So first things first, we have 54 is less than or equal to negative 9x. I see multiplication in the problem, so I do the opposite. That's division. The 9's on the right-hand side cancel, leaving me with x. 54 divided by negative 9 is negative 6. And since I actually divided by a negative number, that sign has to flip in the other direction. And I end up with negative 6 is greater than or equal to x. Moving on to number 2. X plus 4 is greater than or equal to 12. I subtract 4 from both sides. The 4's on the left-hand side cancel. That leaves me with x is greater than or equal to 8. there was no multiplying or dividing involved, so I don't have to worry about flipping the sign. Don't make more of problems than what they are. I know we have this new rule here, and a lot of times when we get new rules, people just want to use them all the time like we're supposed to. But pay attention, right? Are we doing multiplication? Are we doing division? Or is it something else where it doesn't apply? Okay, number 3, we have y minus 5 is greater than 47. So we have minus 5. I do the opposite by adding 5. Leaving me with y on the left-hand side, 52 on the right-hand side, and since we're only adding, we don't have to worry about the special rule. Moving on to number 4, we have m divided by negative 4 is less than 10. I see division in the problem, so I do the opposite operation, which is multiplying by negative 4. On the left-hand side, the negative 4's cancel, leaving me with m. On the right-hand side, 10 times negative 4 is negative 40. And then I pay attention that I actually multiplied by a negative number here, so that does mean that the sign has to flip in the opposite direction. Okay, so basically, solving inequalities is just like solving equations as long as we can pay attention to our special rule. Hopefully this has helped you guys solve problems in this section, but if not and you need more explanation or you need more help, please reach out to me and let me know.